You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 726. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Alex.
Man, does it feel good to go back and just 100% a game. This feels great, Tricky. Even if you don't earn a platinum trophy, it's lovely.
He brings the awesome. It's I Yield to No One.
You know, it's funny that Alex mentions that because I went back this weekend and picked up some DLC to try to 100% a game.
Gotta get back in time.
He's the man that likes to set everything on fire and is excited about the new weapon in Helldivers. It's Matt.
You know, I when I saw it, and I'll get to this when I've what I've been playing, but you know, I immediately thought Yield's been playing Helldivers all this time, and not once did he peep about this new cremator weapon. So I had to send him a message expressing my disappointment. But it's all in good fun. I'm not expecting you to report every single time there's something.
I will admit I did chuckle when I saw that message. Like, they came across like, "What the hell, Yield? You don't tell me."
To be fair, he also probably could have said something to me, but I think Yield is on. I don't know exactly when the cremator came out, but I mean, I've played more recently than Matt, maybe, or more often than Matt, and I didn't get a message, so.
Okay, all right. Well, we were addressed already. What the hell is the cremator? What exactly is it?
It's a way better flamethrower than the standard flamethrower.
Think of like a minigun flamethrower.
Did that come out with the Python Commandos?
No, I forget the pack.
That was there was some kind of minigun type weapon. I think that came out with that.
Yes, you're right. The cremator was, I think, like after you got the minigun and you got the grenade.
It was definitely after. I was around for Python Commandos. I didn't. This was in a much later pack.
Okay. So, how the hell are you, gentlemen? Just the four of us this week. I didn't bring any extras this week, so we don't have a full show, but we are getting a lot of positive feedback from last week's show, including some angry comments on our social medias.
Well, I'm sure that we will always, bring some anger, evoke some anger out of some folks, but I'll quote Wong from Endgame, and I'll say, "You wanted more?"
All right. One of our comments from last week came from Goat, who seems to be the only person that likes to leave comments on our Spotify things. He says, "Never understood how Game Pass could possibly be profitable either. Even said so several times. Certain people named Matt work in OT to come to its defense all the time over such silly things as lack of evidence. We don't need evidence. We need common sense. Anyways,
no, you do need evidence in some things, but also a lot of... we would have Jeff on, and Jeff would be like, push back against the Game Pass thing of not making money. So someone in the industry who would know, like, we would also take Jeff at his word. And I'm not saying that I don't take Jeff at his word now, but there were also people from in the industry telling us that kind of thinking is actively wrong. And no, you always need evidence. Like, we don't just need assumptions.
I don't know how people can go through life just taking things at face value. There's gut instincts, and then there's evidence, based actions. I appreciate Goat writing in, but like everybody who was out there saying this can't be profitable was going off of gut feelings, and now they get to push it around saying, "Ha, I was right." Okay, you guessed right. I was taking a more pragmatic stance by saying, I'd like to see the numbers before I start throwing out opinions.
Well, also, didn't they... they didn't say it wasn't profitable, right? They said it didn't meet expectations or didn't provide as much.
It didn't
growth
provide
as
the
they wanted.
growth. Yeah, didn't provide the growth. Again, everybody is sitting here saying, "Aha, I was right." Again, with no evidence.
Okay, and also the developers did say it was bad for their businesses.
Doesn't mean it's completely broken.
Well, you had some developers say it was bad, but you also had others come out and say they like Game Pass. So there's back and forth within the industry. So, like, again, I need evidence to be able to, say definitively whether it's not profitable. But no, Asher Sharma never came out and said it wasn't profitable.
Okay.
Is that, correct, Tricky? She never came out and said that.
I don't remember her exact words, but she was alluding to the fact that it was bad for Xbox in itself.
Well, they had said that their profit margins were like a fraction of what other competing companies were making. And part of that was because of these strategies.
Yeah. In reference to one of our TikTok videos when we were talking about the digital versus physical conversation, somebody with the name of Nunya said, "I'd rather there be a reasonable means to own it. Until then, yo ho ho."
I mean,
all right, no comment on that.
You do piracy if you want to. I mean, still, I like to see all these people who seemingly want to get into piracy over this. What happens if someone comes knocking on their door?
All right,
we'll see how
Alex,
tough those people are then.
Alex, you got a comment from a video from a long time ago when we were talking about Darksiders versus Zelda, in which Giancarlo says Darksiders 2 gravitated more to a casual hack and slash plus some RPG elements. Darksiders 1 was a Zelda-like, but it was more linear, but it was better reproducing the temple structures type of gameplay. And somebody also left a comment saying nobody's commenting on this video. I guess I'll comment on the video, which then led somebody else to comment.
I'm going to jump in here.
Carlo.
I'm going to jump in here. Everybody out there who's jumping on this raise the flag train doesn't seem to understand that pirating console-based games, especially PS4 and PS5 era games, is not the easiest thing in the world. You have to know where to go. You have to know what items to find, what files to download that are safe to download. And then you have to do a lot of configuring to make sure to get it right. They just recently came out and said that they finally managed to get GTA 5 to the main menu. And that was a big deal. Like, getting past the boot screen is a huge thing. But everybody who's out there like saying yo ho ho seems to forget, yeah, PS3 and earlier era stuff, pretty easy to come by. But all the later stuff, you're going to be waiting a couple of years before that happens. So enjoy your time.
And one final comment. We were talking about the Asher Sharma statement in which she says, the layoffs are coming. Hamilton says, cut the fat. It was all fat. I don't agree with that, but. All right, that's all the social media comments. So, I wanted to touch those because I keep forgetting to mention those on when we do the show. So I wanted to make sure I knocked those out right away.
It was the entrenched division war bond, Matt.
Yes.
So it was the World War I themed war bond.
Yes.
All right, let's do our updated trophy count, as I just lost the agenda. I am level 990 total trophies of 36,046 with 1,052 platinums. Alex?
I do not have it up. Sorry, I was dinking around with...
He is level 500. He's level 538 total trophies of 11,474 with 214 plats.
In 213 games.
Yield?
Level, newly minted, 548. With a trophy count of 12,175 and a platinum count of 232.
Matt?
224, 1395, 0.
And Sid is level 902. Total trophies of 28,168 with 869 plats. And Will is in our chat saying, "What up, jerks?" Matt's very mad at us.
But
Oh, not Matt. Sorry, not Matt. Will's very mad at us. I'm sorry.
Why is Will mad at us?
Well, I don't think he's mad at you.
I've got to say, I mean, of anybody, he should not be mad at me.
Although, you probably have turned on your PlayStation 5 during the... Or wait, when are they doing the outage?
It's supposed to be next week.
August.
Oh,
Is it next week?
I'm turning on my PlayStation 5. Everybody's going about this the wrong way. A blackout ain't going to hurt them. If you want to actually do a protest, buy physical. Straight buy physical. And then
Will says the blackout's from the 23rd to the 30th.
Oh, okay. It's at the end of the month. Either way, I'm not partaking in that.
I'm actually going to add that in along with our topics of the weeks. I forgot that was a thing.
I was going to say, have we talked about that yet?
No, I'll add it as a topic right now.
All right, so we will be getting to that. He says he's not participating either. What?
He was trying to get us on board.
You're part of the problem, Will.
To not...
We don't have a Sophie's Trophies, and we do have a rarity update, but that will be passed in later. Gareth was doing some stuff today and wasn't able to get us the written up, so we'll be passing that into later. Either myself or Yield will be recording that. What else do we have? What are we playing? Let's start with Yield. Yield, you start us off today.
So I've been playing, played a little bit of Roadcraft. Spent first part of my week playing Game of Thrones. That was my latest platinum, and and
I can't not hear Game of Thrones.
And my platinum streak is still alive. Picked up some DLC for Manusburn Racing, and was going back and working on that on Saturday, trying to 100% that. I went to pick up DLC for Tabletop Racing, but it got delisted as of January 14th of this year. So another reason why digital is so bad is because if the studio closes, they just take the game off the storefront.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Which I think that's silly. If it's up on the storefront, it should be up on the storefront. But because it's digital,
I don't think they remove it if the studio goes out of business.
That's what the Googles said.
Well, you can trust everything you read on the internet.
Well, considering that when I first Googled it, it said it was available for purchase, and every time I went to buy, it wouldn't let me buy, and then upon further searching, it got delisted. Anyway,
what game is this?
Tabletop Racing.
Okay.
Played some Dust and Neon last night, just because I hadn't played it in a while. Picked up a game called Terror of Hemosaurus, and been playing that towards the end of the week and this weekend. Think Rampage, but more pixelated, is pretty much what that game is.
How does it get more pixelated than the Nintendo Rampage?
It feels more pixelated than Rampage. Maybe I'm not remembering Rampage in a better light than what it was, but that's just how I felt it played. And then I've been playing a lot of Generation Zero. And has that been everything? Oh, and I played some Helldivers too. I did do that. Made sure that I had enough super credits for the incoming Warhammer War Bond here in a week or two.
Yield, that is going to be a legendary War Bond, right? So it's going to take 1,500 super credits.
Well, they haven't said, but it's a legendary, so unless they jack it up, it's probably 1,500.
All right. And Alex, what have you been playing?
Well, really not mostly, like all PS3 games. I talked about how I got the Platinum. Did I talk about how I got the Platinum of Sound Shapes on PS3 last week? I feel like maybe I was kind of in the...
I think you were more talking about the DLC and then the Trophy War.
Yeah, no, I got the Platinum Trophy in the PS3 version of Sound Shapes. Finished all the death runs. which again could be frustrating, but were very manageable with some practice. I went back and played some Dead Nation, the twin-stick zombie shooter from Housemarque. Housemarque being, again, one of my favorite developers, Outland, and more recently Returnal and Saros. Big fan of them. Dead Nation, I was able to go back. I bought the DLC Road to Destruction or Road to Devastation and got 4 of the 6 trophies. If anyone out there has, I don't even actually know if there's servers probably are not anymore, so you can't do online co-op anymore. But there is a couple of trophies that are a little bit difficult. Well, one, you have to have a partner to go through the round with, because you have to have a partner co-op to get through a round untouched, taking no damage from the zombies. So kind of hard to do when you're just trying to control 2 controllers. But was not able to get 100% or the platinum trophy in that game because you got to go through the campaign on morbid difficulty, and then you got to beat a mission on undead. And that game gets very difficult. So, but was still able to go back and finish, mop up some of the DLC trophies that I had never done before. The big win of the week, though, for me is BioShock. I've already got the platinum in BioShock. I've had the BioShock platinum for going on 10, 11 years now. And I had never done the challenge room DLCs just because it just kind of seemed counterintuitive to, what I wanted out of BioShock. Because once you get the challenge DLC, they tell you at the beginning, this is not to extend the story. This has nothing to do with the story. These are just kind of a standalone thing to enjoy as their own. So I really, with DLC, I would think that you would want more story because that's the strength of BioShock. I mean, gameplay is not bad, but it's really the story and the world of Rapture that you want to play in. And these are kind of just set in generic arenas within Rapture, and it's just kind of contrary to really why people would want to go into Rapture again. But and they also have time challenges built into them. The first challenge you have to beat in under 3 minutes, the second challenge under 4 minutes, the last challenge in under 15 minutes. And basically what they are is they're puzzle combat challenges. At the end, you have to save a little sister, but in each episode, it's different what you have to do. In the first challenge room, you've got a big daddy that's gone crazy, and you have to defeat the big daddy with no weapons. You have to figure out how to use plasmids and the environment to beat the big daddy to save the little sister. Second one, there's a little sister trapped at the top of a Ferris wheel that's malfunctioned, and you need to find different ways to use electricity to power the Ferris wheel to get her down. And the third sub-challenge rooms, it's just 8 rooms, combat challenges, with various things between Houdini splicers, multiple big daddies, all this different stuff, and just one giant challenge that you have to do in under 15 minutes, which is a little bit nerve-wracking. So yeah, like the whole time challenge being built into it, you can still play them without worrying about the time, but there is an active timer on the challenges when you start them. So like, again, just kind of counterintuitive. It's like, getting Mickey Speedway USA for the N64, if we're going back retro. And once you're done doing all the races, it's like, okay, here's the DLC where you jump out of the cars and sword fights. Like, this is not why I bought the game. So a lot of times I'm confused as to why developers do that. Again, BioShock is a great game, but having time challenges isn't necessarily what you want to play the game for. However, I did go back. I finished all the challenges. I got my 100% back in BioShock, so I'm very proud of that. And the one saving grace for that is that you can save mid-challenge. So if you're having a really good run, and you mess up somewhere and you don't want to have to start all over again, you can save mid-challenge and kind of start from the exact time that you save from. So that is a nice little thing there with those DLC challenges. Helps some of the frustration. Last but not least, in my trek to clean up some of my old trophies, I've been actually re-downloading a lot of games from the PlayStation Store from the PS3 era. And honestly, I will say, I have not had any issues with any demos that I previously downloaded, any games I previously bought. Like, I'm not having issues with re-downloading anything. And some of these licenses, were from the 2010s and a bit before. So, I do think at this moment, some of the whole, like, they're going to wipe your library is a little bit overplayed and kind of fear-mongering. But as of now, I've not had any trouble downloading games I had previously bought on the PlayStation 3. So I have re-downloaded Mass Effect 2. And I had trouble getting through the Insanity run. I still actually have never done that, but there is an Arrival DLC with some extra trophies in it that I never played. So I think my next step is going to be to download the Arrival DLC and get the 3 trophies from that in Mass Effect, because it only takes a couple hours and it's not too difficult. So I think that's my next target for cleanup. I also have in the Horizon Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and the Da Vinci's Disappearance DLC. And that's I think my next step after this. But I am one step closer to owning Star Fox because I did actually become a Switch 2 owner. I'm now the owner of Nintendo Switch 2. So I heard Zelda Ocarina of Time Reborn, remake, whatever you want to call it, is finished. They've rated it for the ESRB. So whenever that does come out, I'll be ready. But yeah, that's my week in gaming. New console, ready for Zelda, and getting 100% BioShock. That's what we call a W, folks.
Boo. Matt, what have you been playing?
Well, first and foremost, congrats, Alex, on becoming part of the Switch 2 family. It's a good time.
It was real easy. I just used my credit card.
Hopefully getting some points off of that. So this week was on the Switch 2. I did more Splatoon Raiders. I haven't really gone in to try to join up with anybody else or actually requesting them to come help me. I'm just trying to get through some of the raids, by myself, level up gear. And it's really neat because there's 3 main backpacks you get to use as you go through the levels. And each of those backpacks have gear that you can develop and level up. And I just got to the part where I made some of the first major additions to my base. You basically get more trees. By tree, I mean skill trees and things like that you can go down. It gives you more options for upgrading your character. So I'm on the second island. I don't know how many islands there are. I was just watching somebody talk about it today, and they said they beat the game in 14 hours, but that there's plenty of end game content that you can do. So I'll continue playing along with that and making sure I get to the end of that fairly in short order. I also played, as I mentioned earlier, Helldivers 2. My buddy Steve and I just wanted to go in, play a round or two, and that's what I found as I was going through I forget the terms that they are, the deployables, whatever it is. That's where I suddenly see this giant thing just lighting everything on fire. I was like, okay. I had some money in my account, so I went and I tidied that up as far as getting the credits necessary to buy that war bond. Unfortunately, and you'll cry at this one, despite all of the idling, I'm short 100 medals to buy it. So I haven't gotten it yet.
You'll like it.
Of course I will. I don't think everybody else will like it. So
stay out of Matt's way.
Yes, that's best suggestion. So I put some time into that. Not a lot, just enough to kind of shake off the rust. I put more time into Dinoblade. I beat about 3 more bosses in the game. So I'm moving along at that. I think I'm maybe 30-40% through the game. It's not a long game. People say it's about 5 to 8 hours, depending on how much you're trying to complete it. But I'm having fun with a dino-based Souls-like. Also put more time into Monster Hunter Wilds, just trying to figure out what I want to do. Playing with my friends, I finally did what I needed to have every single hunting horn that's available to us in the game. So I'm prepared for when the DLC hits next year to start upgrading those from there. So I think my next thing I'm going to be doing is upgrading and getting all of the gun lances I need. That's the secondary weapon I've been using in the game. So that will be my next goal on that. And finally, I put some time into Halo Campaign Evolved. I purchased that on Steam. My buddy Keith and I played a bunch of that yesterday. Unfortunately, we had a crash early on into the bonus missions, so we kind of just immediately quit that and just went back into the actual game. And I could say it looks beautiful. It plays very well on the PC. Has a bunch of different options that you could use, and make sure that it's suited for your system. It did give me a warning that I had to have the latest NVIDIA drivers, so there's that. Just make sure you have them downloaded and installed.
Before you go any further, I do have a question. I've seen some people are not happy with the Halo campaign Evolved. Is there any issues that people are having with that? Or are people kind of pushing back against it?
It depends on what people you're saying are unhappy. The campaign itself is fine. There's some people saying the dialogue sucks, and then you have some of the other we call them incels, who are upset with changes to the game, saying that Cortana looks like a man, that now there's like an unkillable female NPC. So there's a lot of people who are unhappy, calling it, woke evolved, but I'm having fun. It's Halo. The problem I actually have with it is Legendary seems a little easier than what it was on the original system, because in this game, not only do you have your shield, which regenerates, which was just like the normal original game, but your health also regenerates. If you remember in the original Halos, if you ever played them, you had to find health packs to heal up. It just didn't heal your health. And there's also a sprint, which there was no sprint in the original Halo. So there's a couple different things that they added in. I feel like it kind of brings down the Legendary status a little bit, but it's still Halo. I mean, you still have all the weapons. I think, if I remember correctly, the original assault rifle had like 60 ammo. Now it's like 36 or something like that. There's ammo everywhere. Plus, in a game like that, you have plenty of weapons and guns that you can pick up along the way. So that's what I've been doing this past week.
All right, and I have been playing some Division, obviously. I'm loving the latest Dust Storm. We got one more week of that, and then shortly after that, we have the new Incursion, so I'm really looking forward to that. Played a little bit more Assassin's Creed, trying to wrap up those trophies. It's going to be a little while because I got to go back and 100% some of the missions. I got my ass kicked in one of the Legendary fights. Got to figure out what I did wrong. And what else have I been playing? I played a little bit more of Moss, the Forgotten Relic. I'm trying to give that game a chance because I really love that game, but it's just something about it not being in VR is just taking me out of the experience. But I will go back and play it. And that is all I've been playing. Yeah. I'm looking through right now. That's all I've been playing. So at this time, Matt, I'm going to toss it over to you for our topics.
And I will catch that. So this is the first recording of the month. Therefore, we get to talk about all of the playable PS Plus games coming as of August 4th. So by the time you all hear this, they should be available. The first game coming up is Dying Light 2 Stay Human Reloaded Edition for the PS4 and PS5, as well as Big Walk for the PS5, Signalis for the PS4. There is a Marvel Token Fighting Souls PlayStation Plus pack you can get, and that is it. Yeah. You all noticed something significant missing from this?
What would that be, Matt?
Well, as a premium owner, there's really no benefit this month.
Well, we normally don't get that until the middle of the month.
I thought you get games at the beginning of the month.
No. We get the free games we get at the beginning of the month.
No, that's right. That's for the service. Never mind. Okay. So, anyways,
right.
I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. Dying Light 2, I played. I enjoyed for a little bit, but I kind of lost its luster. Big Walk is a new cooperative multiplayer adventure that's been out there for a little while. There's been some decent reviews around that. Signalis, yeah, haven't looked at.
I think it launches next week.
Was it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, day and date to the service.
I'll look that up.
Look that up because the Brain 76 sent it in our text group.
Initial release date is August 4th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, again, I'm wrong. That's what I get for not reading. So, anyways, it seems to be an okay month, but I'll defer to you, Jaz, if there's anything that you're going to be going after.
I was going after the Big Walk co-op game. Like I said, the Brain 76 has sent it in our friend's text group that he was kind of keeping an eye on that game, and I had added it to my wish list. Knew the release date was August. Didn't know when in August until the leak came out, or the announcement, I can't remember which one I saw, that it was coming for PlayStation Plus. So, cool, I don't have to buy it.
I mean, obviously, I'm happy people getting Dying Light 2. I'm not interested in it because I think that's first person, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that takes me out of it right away. Yeah, I've never heard anything about Big Walk, but maybe I'll give it a look. And Signalis, I don't know anything about it. I have to do my research on it.
It's a horror game.
Apparently. I'll let Alex go. Then I have a question for you guys, because Matt brought up the premium games. So, Alex, what do you think?
Not a month for me. Although I will say I know obviously the popularity of Dying Light, so anyone who's been on the fence will be nice for them to get to try that as part of their subscription. And then Big Walk, it's nice when smaller indie titles get highlighted and, as Shield said, around the time of their release. So, I mean, continuing the benefits of PlayStation Plus, just not necessarily a month where I really want to play a whole heck of a lot.
All right. So, Matt brought up the premium games, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, because I don't think any of you guys are premium besides me, right?
Correct.
No.
I am currently not premium. And I don't even think Matt has PlayStation. Matt, do you still have PlayStation Plus, or did you just re-up for a little bit?
So, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the premium games have been staggering in their release. So, like, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm a little gassy today. Game A will release, like, let's say August 15th, and then Game B doesn't release until August 22nd. Do you guys like the fact that they're staggering their games out, and, if they would do that with the free games to, not crowd, the first Tuesday of the month, or do you guys like the fact that they're staggering those games out a little bit?
Well,
not that you guys are getting it.
If you get a game staggered towards the end of the month, then you've got another round of games or another game coming up at the beginning of the month. And I don't know. I think it's better to give people all of them at once, and that way, because I guarantee most people aren't going to have 3 games they want to play. It's a good month if you have 1 game you want to play. So I think it's just best to continue it as they're doing it. I think the staggering of the premium games is to make it seem like we're getting more than we really are. As we talked about, like the premium stuff has really dried up quite a bit.
Yield?
I guess it does. I guess it doesn't really bother me. Yeah, I don't really care. I agree with what Alex is saying, and the fact that if you stagger it, it makes you feel like you're getting more than what you're getting. And it's not like, to me, it's not like if you release them all on the first Tuesday of the month, that, this game over here in premium is going to overshadow this game over here that you're getting free for Plus. That would be few and far between if it were to happen, so I don't see it as a big deal.
All right, and Matt?
I have no opinion or comment on it.
Fair enough.
I do have one more comment, and I will say that I like having all 3 games announced at once. And, maybe they would still announce them over time, but it would be nice to have access to the games I want to play at the very start of the month, because that way it's easier to work around other games you may want to play. Like, there may be a big release that comes up that you want to play, and having the knowledge ahead of time and having access to a game at the beginning of the month might help you kind of figure out how you're going to play other games. A game may be coming out in the middle of the month, and you don't want to wait to play something, So I wish everything would just come out at the beginning of the month.
Okay. Back to you, Matt.
Alrighty, next article coming from Eurogamer.net. Hey, you know that CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson? His bonus rose from $8 million to $38 million last year. And that's despite layoffs happening across the organization. And part of the reason that they attribute it was to the success of Battlefield 6. And this came from a 10K report mandatory document required from all publicly traded companies. So, interestingly enough, you look at this and go, well, next week, the purchase of EA by Saudi Arabia, or, some organization within Saudi Arabia is going to make them private, which means we're not going to be getting some of these kind of reports anymore. I'm sure there's going to be other financial reports that you can pull the stuff from. But just remember, folks, the people at the top aren't the ones getting hurt by these layoffs, by bad game decisions. It's the people at the bottom. So maybe don't support EA anymore. That's just my opinion. Anybody else with me?
I have no comment.
We see this every time, whether there is really any kind of organization. It doesn't just have to be a video game company, where the people at the top are just paid an exorbitant amount of money, and the people below them, not so much. So, unfortunately, this is it'd be a surprise if he was getting paid, less or had to take a cut. To me, it's still shocking, but at the same time not shocking, because you just kind of expect to hear that a CEO is just paid exorbitantly and honestly doesn't really deserve what they're getting paid. So, while everything else is just crumbs are just thrown to everybody else.
Yield, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Next story. Pragmata 2 sequel is likely given the success. I'll give you credit this one, Tricky. So this comes from IGN, written by Tom Phillips. Yay, we had an IGN article. We hit our quota. So basically, reported recently, Pragmata has sold 2.51 million units worldwide in just 3 months. They seems to make Capcom happy with that. And now they're talking about a sequel, which will be interesting. I kind of hope they take it in maybe a different direction, because the way Pragmata 2 ended left some questions. So I don't know how that's going to be, but there's been a couple different things that they've talked about recently on record sales, and I think Resident Evil 2 Remake is now the best-selling Resident Evil of all time at 19.75 million copies sold, which is over Resident Evil 5's 19.01 million, which was the top Resident Evil game for all time. So just to give you a little perspective as to what Pragmata did versus Resident Evil, an established game series. But I couldn't speak highly enough of Pragmata when I played it, when we talked about it in this game or on the show. So I'm happy with it. I would definitely pick up a Pragmata 2. I don't think any of you played it.
I started playing the demo and then got distracted, but Pragmata is a game I'm definitely interested in trying to play.
I have not played it.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, you always like to see Capcom get some wins, get some W's, because they seem to be, of all the publishers, I think they're doing really, really well compared to other companies. As far as, putting out stuff like the Resident Evil remakes, which people really love, taking Resident Evil more back to a survival horror tone, and just putting out new games like Pragmata. And even, having a new Mega Man game come out. Although the Mega Man games haven't come out as much as we have wanted or as often as we have wanted, Capcom is just a kind of company you want to root for. They do exist, they are out there. So it's always nice to see a success story from them, especially a new IP that, people can really get behind.
I've said it a couple times. Capcom, outside of Nintendo, has been one of the last publishers that, and every publisher has their own issues, but to me, it seems like Capcom is the only one left trying to push like games for game's sake. A lot of companies, like we just covered, EA, seems to be pushing games for financial gain and stockholders. Capcom seems to want to make games that people enjoy, and I think Pragmata 2, which, kind of was a risky maneuver. You don't see too many new IPs coming from established developers anymore. And them putting out this game that they're happy with the sales. How many stores have we covered that a game has sold like 3 or 4 million copies and the developer's like, oh, it didn't meet our sales expectations? Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
So for Capcom to say 2.5 million, we're good. Maybe we'll make a sequel to this. I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. Also, I'll keep supporting Capcom. It's been a banner year for them. Resident Evil Requiem, Monster Hunter Stories 3, and Pragmata. Yeah, I think they've got it on lockdown this year. Alrighty. Next story, and we all kind of saw this coming. Coming from Kotaku, Psychonauts 2 studio Double Fine hit with layoffs amid divestiture from Xbox. I think we all kind of saw this happening, and this came from a tweet, and it said, today, Double Fine Production let go 23 members of the staff. It's a small, tightly knit team, and the actions are not taken lightly. Only the survival of our studio would ever make us consider such a painful action. So this kind of goes back to Double Fine is spinning off of Xbox, and I think this was the only option for them, because if they didn't spin off of Xbox, I think Xbox would have closed them down, meaning everybody would have been out of a job. So this is taking the worst of a bad situation and trying to make things work. I it's still 23 members. I don't want to downplay the number just because it's only 23, whereas, Xbox has released 3,200. I think this is the only thing that they could have done. That said, I don't know where this leaves them in the development process. I don't know what games they had in the pipeline. So I don't know what this means for them or how long they'll actually be able to keep things running.
Didn't it say that they had under 100 people working at the studio?
Looking at the article, I don't see that directly. I wouldn't be surprised if that number is accurate, though.
I have to see if I can find it. It's kind of just like Matt said, rather than everyone have to find new work, you have to find a way to make Double Fine work. And unfortunately for Double Fine, they have made really good games, but they haven't made, when it comes to their big games like Brutal Legend and Psychonauts, they haven't been known necessarily for commercial success. So after Brutal Legend, obviously they took a turn and they made Costume Quest and they made Stacking. They made smaller downloadable games to help them out when it comes to financing. But obviously they turned to Xbox when they finally made Psychonauts 2. And, Psychonauts 2 was actually able to get out the door and it was a really good game. So I'll always be grateful for that. But, once they're back on their own after leaving Xbox and not having the publishing money behind them, it's obviously they're going to have to make a difficult decision. And this, when the company says this, because I can't remember the last time I ever saw Double Fine lay people off. They, it's one of those companies where it's taken seriously, and Tim Schafer would never make these decisions if he didn't have to. So in order to save the company, unfortunately, some people had to be let go, and hopefully Double Fine can find a way to find their balance and continue to make games, because it was a nice story that, you kind of were holding your breath and to see if these studios were going to be able to make it. And then all the Jettison studios seem to be able to find at least solid footing after, Xbox kind of reset everything. But then, here in the aftermath, there is the reality that they do have to now make it financially work for them without, a parent company. So it's difficult, unfortunately, but obviously a necessary decision.
Ready. Tricky, did you go on this or you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Next article comes from Reddit, and I have to depend on the title because this was translated from Korean. But basically, NVIDIA is reportedly planning a 20 to 30% graphics card price hike as the DRAM crisis continues. I can't even imagine. Let me hold on. Let me go to Micro Center right now, and let me find the price of a, let's say, 5090. 5090, various versions, block that, RTX 5090. An Asus version RTX 5090, currently $4,800. Add 20 to 30% on top of that. I don't even know how this is supposed to work anymore. I truly don't understand how anybody is supposed to afford this hobby anymore. And AMD is going to...
You're gonna have to hit the street corner.
I might as well. Problem is, I only get like $5 a pop. And that's me paying them.
Oh, come on, Matt. I'd pay you more than that.
$6?
$5 is $5.
I'd pay at least double for good conversation.
I just listen, and we know because of everything, NVIDIA doesn't count on graphics card sales for their business. They count on significant computing, like server-based computing, things like that. Graphics card doesn't even account for like 1% of their freaking business anymore. I just don't get how they're expecting to move cards at these prices. I bought back in 2020 my 3090 for $1,800, I think it was at the time. And then recently I bought my 5080. It was on sale from $1,200 down to $900. I traded in my 3090, which brought it down to less than $500 for a 5080. That's a move that I can make and go, okay, I can deal with a $400 upgrade. But I don't know how anybody new can come in. And I'm not, that's a 5090. That is I think a business buys a 5090 for computing processes. But a gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 is $1,200. So I think, gaming enthusiasts stick with the 80 series or below. And now you're going to have AMD who's going to be raising their prices as well because they just needed the permission. Just like, whether it was Sony or Xbox or Nintendo who broke first, the others decided, oh, well, now we can raise our prices because, we're not going to be the bad guys in this, at least not the first bad guys. So it's funny when I look at all these people saying with what's going on over at Sony saying, oh, I'm just going to stop this and go to PC.
Yeah, that I was going to bring up I posted a picture. Now, granted, this is probably AI generated and it was probably fake in itself. But one of the comments was 46% of PlayStation fans say they plan to swap to PC after this support ends. And I posted that saying, I'm sorry, but 46% of fans are not switching to a more expensive digital game machine.
I understand the thought process is if I'm going to be forced to be digital, I'm going to go to PC, which, again, that goes back to flying the Davy Jones or whatever what's the name of that damn flag?
The Jolly Roger.
Jolly Rogers, thank you. Again, people just think they're just going to go there and automatically, just start downloading Grand Theft Auto 5 to pirate or Spider-Man 2. But
didn't you start this show off by saying that you had to update your graphics card to play a game?
Yeah. Not update my graphics card, my drivers.
Oh, your drivers, yeah. Sorry. That's what that... Okay, I know we're getting a little off topic here, but that's why, like, when people say I'm going to go to PC gaming when PlayStation, does what... I'm like, do you guys understand, like, PC gaming ain't going to be much better for you. Yeah, you're going to have more variety. You can be playing with a keyboard and mouse, but it ain't going to be better than the PlayStation for the people that are in the PlayStation ecosystem. And now you're talking that they're going to be raising the prices? Like, granted, you said the graphics card that you pointed out was, like, high end, right? Top end.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was what, $4,600? You said. That's more expensive than I paid for my whole PC 4 years ago.
No, it's accurate. Again, I bought via new PC for $2,200 just this year, so it's not. It just isn't making sense when NVIDIA comes out and says, we're going to raise prices 20-30%. And you got people out there being like, oh, I'm just going to stop using PlayStation. Listen, here's the benefit. You no longer are paying for online. You can get games at discounts more easily. Steam has a lot more sales going on than PlayStation or Xbox or even, and I don't even want to say Nintendo. It's a laugh. So do you make your money back over time? It's possible. Depends on what you buy.
It's going to take a long time to get that money back.
In the current age. Listen, I was ready to type out a long response, but it's easier for me to say it on the show. Not too long ago, you were able to build a PC comparable in power to a PS4 for around or better than the price, which is crazy to think. Back then, a $400 PC could outbeat or outlast a PS4. Crazy to think, but it was doable. Here, the diminishing returns you get by spending that much more money, it's not going to work out the way that these people think it's going to work out. Listen, I've spent years upgrading, adding, piecemealing my PC out. So it's never all one big hit at a time. But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, people have to be familiar with how it's going to work when it's time to update your drivers, make sure, you're able to troubleshoot things. If it's one thing that consoles do right, is they do make it more simple for users to just put in a game and play. Joe Priestley always jokes about, have fun updating your drivers. Yeah, you got it. You got to maintain it. But just like I always say, a high-end car is going to require a lot more maintenance than a regular car, but it also gives you better performance. So take that as you will.
I think that... Oh, go ahead, Turkey.
I was going to say, and the petitions hasn't really gained anything over the last week. It's only up to 356,000 now.
So I think that anyone who's planning to switch from a PlayStation to a PC... because maybe you're fed up with Xbox and PlayStation. One, PC is going to be a hell of a lot more expensive. And I think that if your big benefit is that, well, I have a lot more access to a lot more games now, wouldn't you have done that from the fucking start instead of buying an Xbox or a PlayStation? The reason you didn't do that from the beginning is because of how expensive PC gaming is. So if it's too expensive before, it's damn sure going to be too expensive now. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that people are, like Tricky said, you're not going to switch from an all-digital console to go buy a PC, which is... Do they even make physical games for PC anymore, Matt?
No.
With a big caveat. Again, good old games, it allows you to download the executable and you can move it to whatever format you want. So you can download the file.
So you can make your own
You can
games.
literally put the file on a disk. Steam has the capability to back up your games to external storage. So if you need to, you can keep them offline. They'll still need to authenticate with servers once you install them. So no, it's been a long time since physical games were a thing. I think 2004, when Steam first came around, is kind of when it all started going away. I still have some physical games for my PC that I literally was able to install, just even 2 years ago.
But also, like, most people, I mean, unless you're like a real PC gaming person, you're buying a pre-built system. And do even pre-built PCs come with disk drives anymore?
Not really, no.
Yeah, you have to buy that stuff externally.
I took out my disk drive because I found it wasn't needed. And if I absolutely need it, yes, I will get a USB disk drive for those random situations where I need to do something with a disk.
Right.
So I think we kind of sussed out that I think a lot of people who want to make the jump to PC don't understand, and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people don't understand what it's actually going to take for them to play on PC.
Listen, is it easy as creating a Steam account, downloading a game, and getting it to, run? Most cases, yes. There's going to be times where a game you download has issues that you're going to have to figure out. But I've been doing this for 22 years now, PC gaming. Even as far as building my own PCs and getting them, I've been doing PC gaming for much longer than that. And there were even times back then that I had to use my searching capabilities to be able to identify what the issue is. Today, with ChatGPT and everything, you could just probably tell it your problem and it'll tell you what to do to fix it. So PC gaming is easier than ever, but it's also more complex than ever. So everybody who says, I'm just going to jump to PC, there's a whole host of things that you're going to need to work through. I mean, Tricky, you wanted to make your PlayStation DualSense controller work with PC, right? And you tried hooking it up wirelessly. Did that work?
did not work.
Yeah, you find out, I have to hardwire it. Only now do they have beta drivers that will allow you to connect it via Bluetooth and get the functionality. And that's how many years.
And there's a program that you download. I forget the exact name of it. It's like Dual something, the PS4 Dual something, and that sometimes doesn't work. And even like putting the DualSense straight to Steam, which has PlayStation DualSense support, that's always tricky too. And most times, even when you're playing a PC game with a DualShock, like the on-screen prompt is off because X and Y comes up instead of cross or circle or whatever.
So I look at this and I go, it's funny that people will sit down and say, I'm just going to jump to PC like it's easy as going and picking up a new car. No, there's...
I think the biggest thing that people are going to find problems with, and because there's going to be people that are going to switch from PlayStation to PC, but I cannot wait until we hear the stories of, my game's not working because they don't know that they had to update this driver or whatnot. PlayStation fans and Xbox fans, and for Nintendo fans as well, we are all used to the fact that we put the game in the system, it works. And if it doesn't work, we just wait for the developer to patch it, and then it works. You don't have that luxury on PC. I said this on the show.
No, I hear what you're saying, but generally speaking, if it's a game that you're buying on any of the major services, whether it's GOG, whether it is Steam or Epic, generally speaking, if there's something that breaks that game that doesn't make it work on most systems, it's going to be patched very quickly. It's fringe cases that it doesn't work, and you have to really start searching for some back end solution.
But let me ask this. If you are someone who has the mentality of, well, Sony can just delete my entire library, why wouldn't you have the same mentality about Valve and Steam?
That is what gets me. I hear people say that. I'm like, you're jumping from one ship to another. And I think the mentality goes into that whole, well, I'll just pirate games and then they can't take it away. Again, you're not pirating Spider-Man 2 like you could just go click something on LimeWire back in the day. It's going to take effort. It's going to take know-how. And yes, my biggest fear is that Gabe Newell dies, Valve gets sold to somebody, becomes publicly traded, and now they go, well, your account will die in X days if you don't sign in, just like it does for Ubisoft. Right now, the big the big issue is you got to figure Steam is now 22 years old, 2004. And just now you have people coming around going, wait, what do you mean if I die, I can't bequeath my account to somebody else? Like, if Alex, you and I were related, and I was much older than you, and I die, and I put, here's my Steam account information. It's now yours. Your access to hundreds of games is now available. Well, if you go in and change your name, your account information, your address, things like that, eventually Steam could look at that and go, wait a second. It was a New Jersey-based person here with this name. It's now a Kentucky-based person here with this name. Sorry, your account is now terminated for violating our terms of service. All of those games gone. It is something that does keep me up at night a little, and the biggest issue is Gabe Newell is the one championing, making games easy and accessible. Hopefully he has a succession plan in place. But people who are like, I'm just going to go to the PC. Why? To do what? You're going to be in the same exact boat.
All right.
Okay.
I there's nothing else I can say about this.
Yep. And final article comes from Notebook Check, which is a new site to me. But Xbox is reportedly wanting disk support in Project Helix to possibly get an advantage over the PS6. So Microsoft and Sony talks about having the opposing sides for the future. I don't know if this is going to be 100% accurate, but you look at this and go, is it possible? Could they potentially turn around and go, wait, guys, wait. We can absolutely corner a piece of the market. And, if we're talking 20 million fans versus, 1 million fans, I think at this point, Xbox is going to take whatever they can. The question is, what's going to be the cost for them to keep a disk drive in this system? So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Xbox will move forward with taking advantage here?
I think Xbox is going to do whatever the hell Xbox was planning to do because it's too late in the cycle for them to make a switch and say, okay, we're actually going to put a disk drive on this if they weren't originally going to do it. If they were always putting a disk drive on the Helix, you're getting a disk drive. If they were not putting a disk drive, you're not getting a disk drive. It's too late in the cycle and the R&D and all that stuff for them to make that switch now.
Do you think they could do something like an attachable and external disk reader?
I'm sure they could, but if you... Let's be real. If Xbox comes out and says, our Helix is coming out and it's going to be an all-digital machine, but you can buy an external disk drive, kind of like what they do right now with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Do you not see that a lot of people are going to say, oh, Xbox pivoted and they're only doing this for fan service now? Because how many people were pissed off when the Pro went digital and then you had to buy the external hard drive or the disk drive? There was a lot of people. Sony got a lot of backlash for that.
And now the disk drive is selling out everywhere.
Right. But I think whatever the Helix was originally designed to do, that's what they're going to do. And I mean, it'd be smart for Xbox to have always planned to put a disc one in, and they just are cashing in right now because of all the bad press. But I think at some point we're going to have to find out what the Helix is doing. And I think right now, if the Xbox, and I'm saying big if the Xbox, the Helix does not have a disk drive, Microsoft is waiting as long as possible before they announce this. Because they are getting so much praise right now, or not praise, but they're not taking the heat as Sony is. They're letting Sony take so much heat right now that if this was not a disk drive machine, they're going to wait as long as possible to announce that they're all digital as well.
Alrighty. Yield, you've been quiet.
I think after the slam that Xbox got for Sony doing the whole "this is how you share games" thing, I would think it would do them good to either keep an eye on the market and add it, or if they've already have it in there, it wouldn't hurt them because they're seeing how mad Sony's getting. There have been a lot of Sony's top development teams have all come out and said that, discs should always be available. So even their own developers are kind of coming out against them. So it would be a smart move to either have one or have the ability to have one. Because if Sony waits so long to pivot, then they've now, are ahead in a corner of the market. And there may even be, a handful of gamers that switch just because of that.
Alrighty.
It's all about the games. It's always been about the games. And Microsoft, you're talking about a Microsoft that championed Game Pass and also is now, we think, being spun off into their own arm where the finances matter. They just, had to jettison 4 studios and they're having to lay off a ton of people, and we think that they're going to give a shit about discs. No, all their financial shit has to make sense now. And so I 100% no. There's no way that there's gonna be a disc in this thing when it comes out. Like I will say, and I'm sure I will take some heat from this. I'm not saying people shouldn't be able to buy discs, but I think Sony's gonna stick to it, and I think most people are gonna get over it because that's what people do. They complain, and if companies continue forward with it, they'll just get over it. That's what I think is gonna happen. But Microsoft, no, I don't like. They're in third place. They have been pushing digital just as hard as anybody else. And to think that they're going to try to be like, oh, we have discs now. No, I think that they are in the same bed as Sony, just like I think Ubisoft and EA and all these other companies are. And Sony's just the one that made the push initially. And also, we have to see, what financial effect this has on because if you're an internal development studio and you're coming out and saying, well, we think that this should, be a thing, like, we also got to remember, a lot of teams have been shut down. A lot of people have been fired. And so I don't know what metrics Sony's going on off of, but if I'm at Sony, I'm like going to my teams and be like, hey, this could help us fund you. Like this direct to consumer, because really what's best for any company is direct to consumer. Not this workaround between, with GameStop and Best Buy. Direct to your consumer is the best way to do business in any field. And so, this actually, if Sony does save enough money on disc production, not having to deal with GameStop and getting more of the cut, 100% of the cut for themselves on their games, it could absolutely be better for their studios. It could be more stability. So, yeah, I don't know. I just looking to Microsoft to be the one that pushes back against this is foolish. It ain't happening.
As I sit here and I'm thinking about it now, I'm feeling like more like it does not have a disc because I feel like we're in what, week 2 or 3 of after Sony's announcement?
It's been longer than 2 weeks.
Okay. You would think at this point, if the Helix was going to have a disc drive, Microsoft would come out and say, just to let you guys know, we are going to have a disc drive. They would capitalize on that. So the fact that they're not coming out and saying it is leading me to believe that it's not going to have one. That's just the way I feel about it.
Alrighty. So those are our news topics for the week. Tricky, I'll toss it back to you for our questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
All right, so the first question we have is coming from Will. Says, how loud did y'all cheer when Sony CFO Lin Tao doubled down on the demise of discs? We're going to get into that a little bit in our topic of the week, so we'll answer your question in a second.
No, I'll answer it now. As loudly as Will cheered for game key cards. If he's going to ask these troll questions, I'll give troll answers.
Yeah. Hey, Will, how much did you cry salty tears about
it? Yo, do you want to make a salty comment?
No, because I saw it days later and just kind of chuckled and went, yeah, that's Sony.
And Dell says, I just finished Halo campaign involved and it was fantastic. Since we live in a world of remakes and remasters, what are some of your favorites? Matt, I'll go to you first because I know you'll just and Alex are gonna have to take some time to think about it.
Nope, I won't.
Nope.
It has to have come out. It has to have come out.
Hold on.
Alex.
No, I know. Because, I'm assuming that the Ocarina of Time will be fantastic, but it's not out yet, so, but I do have an easy answer.
All right. Matt, go first, and then we'll go to Alex.
The Resident Evil. Listen, the Resident Evil on the GameCube was one of the best remakes, hands down. Adding plenty to the game, changing it up to make sure that it wasn't just the same thing over and over again. Still scaring the shit out of you when you're going down those hallways. So yeah, I'm going with the Resident Evil remake back on the GameCube days.
All right, Alex, your answer?
Answer's real easy. Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4. I think that was Bluepoint that did it, but the definitive version of that game originally came out on the PS2. One of the things that people knocked it for was the controls. And, I'm not going to say it's a perfect controlled game, but with better graphics and, I would say, easier to control because doing the time attacks on hard to get the extra weapons and get the platinum trophy was eventually easier on the PS4 version. But for all the improvements they made to make the definitive version of that game, Shadow of the Colossus, remake was easily the best, far and away the best remake I've ever played.
All right, and Yield, your answer?
What was the question? Because I didn't hear it.
Since we live in a world of remakes and remasters, what are your favorites?
Well, really, I can't say Spyro because I never played the originals. So, the only one that I would say would be Burnout Paradise.
All right. I don't have a particular favorite, but I do appreciate when we get a remake or a remaster and it's improved a lot of things from the past. So, like, one thing stands out in my mind is like Snake Eater. The graphics were updated, the controls are updated, stuff like that. That's when I like the remasters, remakes. If you're just giving me, the game and it's just got better graphics, or you just giving me this, it looks the same, but the controls are a little better. To me, I don't like those. I like the ones that improve everything. Because if you're gonna go through the process of remaking it and remastering it, you got to update everything. So I don't have any particular favorite.
Well, Black Flag.
But I haven't really played Black Flag, so I can't speak on that yet.
Fair enough. I will say Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled was really good, although that became more than a remake because they added characters and tracks to it. So a little bit more than a remake, but it initially started as a remake, but that's just kind of an honorable mention.
And if I got to give a game, I would say Darksiders Remastered for the PS5. So, all right. That is the questions. At this point, I'm going to throw it back over to Matt for...
Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Oh, there's going to be plenty of fuck yous this week.
I didn't really mean it, Matt.
I know you didn't. That's what makes it funny. Yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of fuck yous this week because we got 3 different topics here for the topic of the week. And the first one, take this in light of the news, is that PS5 shipments have topped 95.3 million units. Doesn't mean they've sold 95 million units, but they've shipped 95 million units. So take into consideration that there's somewhere close to that in the number of PS5s out in the wild. So the actual topic of the week, coming from Ars Technica, after weeks of silence, you asked, how long has it been? I think at the end of June is when they first made that announcement. Coming from Ars Technica, written by Sharon Harding, Sony is cautiously, finger quotes, moving forward with plans to stop producing discs for PlayStation games as of January 2028, Chief Financial Officer Lin Tao said through Interpreter today. It was basically during an earnings call, and they said that there were various reasons for Sony's decision, with the biggest being the digitization of content overall has been progressing, and they are thinking about the future. They put a lot of thought and time into it. They cautiously considered this. So you see it and they understand that there was going to be some blowback. And I think the stats we've been given have been fudged to make it work for them. And that's the problem with stats, is you could always make it work. This is why I talk about, as we went in earlier, I don't like to espouse opinions without some sort of fact-based findings behind it. So now you look at this and go, okay, well, if they say that digital games are making up the majority of their sales, and Tricky, I know you shared that one infographic in the group, which said $128 million disc game sales April to June this year, $1.2 billion digital game sales April to June. I think there's, again, some maybe non-truths behind that, or they're counting things that they shouldn't be counting on, such as add-ons, DLCs. It says digital game sales, but that could be also inclusive of DLC, packs, things like that. So
PlayStation Plus games.
Yeah, people...
Well, the PlayStation Plus games you get for free, so that wouldn't count as a dollar amount in digital sales.
It's a download, though, and I bet you they could count the download and say, hey, look, this sold.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Yeah, but that wouldn't add to the dollar amount, is what I'm saying.
But they could be counting it as part of revenue, considering the PS Plus dollars added for having that game out there. I don't know. I would literally have to see a profit and loss statement to see this to make sense. But my problem is that they sit down and they can make these numbers work and talk for them in the aspect of, well, yeah, of course we're going digital because it's such a minuscule number. But we've already been finding that the numbers that they push, that 85-15 or 80-20, which is a great ground beef component, by the way, folks, 80-20, don't go less fat content than that. You look at it and go, are they being truthful with the stats that they're giving us? That pushes the numbers and the decisions. And we found that there's inconsistencies with that, saying, we think you may be counting some things that you're unfairly justifying this. So when the chief financial officer in an earnings call saying, yeah, well, basically we knew we were going to get blowback on this, so we have to be very careful, which I think, Tricky, you also circulated the one email that, of course, it made sense internally that they turned around and said, hey, everybody, we're going to be announcing this diskless future. Shut the fuck up and don't say anything, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on this. It only makes sense that they finally have said something. Like the PlayStation X/Twitter account has been silent since the announcement, and people are looking for answers. So in the absence of information in a vacuum, people are going to start doing their own things, which we touched on it earlier. And now there's a group of people saying, hey, guess what? We're going to have a PlayStation blackout in August. And they said...
So stupid.
Was that?
I said, this is so stupid.
Well, again, August 23rd to August 30th. Don't turn on your PlayStations. Don't play them. I will say it. What the fuck do you think that's going to do?
Not a goddamn thing.
Do you think it's going to hurt Sony in some financial way that they're going to be like, oh, well, they're serious about this? If you really wanted to do this, if it really meant something to you, don't turn your PlayStations on. Disconnect them. Don't buy any non-digital, or I'm sorry, don't buy any digital games. If you truly mean this, and to that point, if you're really going to go to this effect, don't buy any games for PlayStation. Just call it quits now. Like, I don't know how much more clear to say this other than this is the stupidest token effort by people who are going to make no impact and rant.
And the week that they're choosing to do it, to me, is stupid. Like, why wouldn't you do this on, say, the week Wolverine launches? Why are you saying don't turn on your systems? Because here's the reality. You turn off your system for a week, okay. You turned off your system for a week. Sony already still has the money from every game you ever bought, every DLC you ever bought. They have your PlayStation Plus money. Like, they have your money already. So what does this do? Oh, well, nobody's playing our games for a week. Okay, well, we'll ride this week out. We still got 51 other weeks this year that are, people are playing our games. This is so stupid. If you want to do this, don't do it on some random week where no major games coming out. Sony's biggest game of the year is coming out
in November. That's when you do it.
Well, okay, November I think would have been too high for people to do this. I'm saying if you want to hurt Sony, do it on Sony's biggest launch of the year.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
No, that's not Sony's biggest launch. That's Rockstar. Do this on the week Wolverine comes out. Not on some random August week that, everybody's back and in 2 weeks. Is it the 15th or the 24th Wolverine's coming out? I forget. It doesn't matter. Whatever week that is, that's the week you do it. Or if you really want to hurt Sony, contact them and say, I want to cancel my pre-order. This is stupid. This is going to accomplish not a dang thing. And this is more about people trying to unite. I mean, I brought up the fact of how many signatures the petition has now, and we just reported, and Matt just reported that Sony has shipped 95.3 million systems. Now that doesn't mean 95 million systems have been purchased to consumer, but Sony has the money that they're going to make off these shipments. Like, these stores already paid Sony for their money. That's 95.3 million consoles Sony has sold. Like, 300,000, 350,000 is not a drop in the bucket to what Sony's worried about. And just to go back to you, Matt, real quick, you were acknowledging the info thing I put in there. Yes, $128 million disc sales, $101.2 billion. If that's even remotely close to being true, which, like, Matt brought up a good argument, like, we don't know what that actually includes. That's almost $1 billion more in digital sales. That's not a number to shake a stick at. Like,
so I want to bring up.
Let me just finish real quick, okay. Alex.
I didn't know. It seemed like you were stammering for something to define. I didn't know if you were done yet.
No. I was trying to choose the right words because I'm trying not to curse and I'm trying not to get angry with this.
We're explicit, motherfucker. Curse if you want to curse.
I get people are pissed off about this, and even like in our Facebook chat where I was talking to Will about this, I feel for the collectors. I like that sucks for you guys, but everybody knew this was coming. Stop with the whining and bitching and the false outrage. You knew this shit was coming. Now all of a sudden it's a reality. Now you want to make this big clamoring thing, get this petition going. Oh, we're going to do a week-long blackout. That's not going to do a dang thing to Sony. Sony knew this shit was coming, and they still went ahead with their plans. Stop with the fucking fake outrage. Sorry. Get it, Alex.
No, I mean, for one, I think Will has said in our chats before, and he's right, that you can find data to support the points you want to make. But what I believe in, and I've said this to you guys, is when I walk into a retail store and I see the allocation of space for certain things, valuable retail space, and when that shrinks, that tells me all I need to know about the business. And it's not just one store, it's multiple stores. You got GameStop saying that game sales aren't really that important to them anymore. I go into my Target, 3 separate Targets, and all the Xbox stuff is gone. Just completely gone, and what they put in place is Pokemon cards, collectibles, action figures. There's still Sony stuff, there's still Nintendo, there's absolutely zero Xbox in 3 separate Targets that are all doing the same thing, which is putting collectibles in that space. When I go into retail and I see that, and I see the shrinking of retail or physical goods, that tells me the way the business is going. That's all you need to know right there. As far as this blackout, Matt is right. This blackout is basically, hey, we're not going to play, we're trying to be super loud and get Sony's attention, but we're only willing to give up our PlayStations for a fucking week. Because we can then, the week before or the week after, go back and play it. That's right. If you want to make a statement, stop turning on your PlayStation, stop, sell your PlayStation 5, turn it off, unplug it. Don't buy digital goods and wait until you get the response that you want, which is Sony, if they ever do, reverse this decision. Again, because this is part of their planning for their new console. I don't think they're going to. But from this point on, a single week, if you actually want to catch their attention, just unplug your console and stop playing it. The reason why it's a week and not that for most people is most people cannot give up their console and are not willing to give up their console long term. They will do this week as a kind of like a little show of unity, but we know they're going to go back and play their consoles the week after that. So what does that really do? It doesn't do shit. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you buy digital from now on, whether it be DLC, whether it be games, you've already broke. If you are truly trying to stay strong and make a change, do not buy anything from them digital. Buy only physical. And if you do really want to show Sony by some kind of blackout method that this isn't going to be tolerated, just unplug your console and stop playing it. Because if you don't have the will to do it more than a week, you don't have the will at all. It's just that simple. Like, you're actually, for this to get changed, you're going to have to push back hard in a week. And, doing the no physical, no buy thing when the PlayStation 6 comes out isn't going to do a damn thing. You got to start now. You got to push back now. So, and I'll say it again. I think some people have the ability to do that, but I don't think most people who play games do. I think PC gaming is
enough people do.
I think PC gaming is too expensive. I think Xbox is just as bad as Microsoft. I think Xbox is just as bad as PlayStation in this regard. And I think that Nintendo, most people who bought PlayStations and Xboxes instead of Nintendos did that for a specific reason, which is a lot of the third-party top-tier games they want to play on the PlayStation and Sony, or on the PlayStation and the Xbox, can't be played on Nintendo because, as we know, Nintendo has taken a different path. And the console they have out now is what? In power the same as a PS4 or something? So do you really think all the people that are playing cutting-edge games or the top-line games on the Xbox and the PlayStation are going to be happy with what's on the Switch? No. Sorry, it probably seems hollow at this point, but I do think people should be able to buy physical copies of games. But we've seen this now with movies and with music. This is the way the industry goes every single fucking time. And I feel like a lot of it is bluster. And while I do feel like some people will change their spending habits or maybe find a new hobby, I think most people are just going to go along with it in the end because there's no choice.
I mean, a week might as well just be a PSN blackout. Like Sony does that to themselves. So,
no, I mean, if you are really going to not buy a PlayStation 6 if it's all digital and give up the PlayStation, for you to have the ability to do that and just write off Sony, for an entire generation or for the rest of your life, you should be able to just turn off your console now and stop playing it. Like that should be, because you're gonna have to at some point. So, again, it's just like a show of unity. It's a loud gesture to try to get Sony's attention. But how many people use their PlayStation 5 as like an all-in-one media thing for their home space, for their den or their living room? I don't just use the PlayStation 5 for PlayStation purposes. I use it to watch YouTube and other things. So it's also an all-in-one media device that people can use. So yeah, I mean, I think we've all, even Will has admitted in chats that this thing is not going to do anything, and that's not the purpose. It's not to change, but it's just kind of something to show unity among the community that people have. They kind of give Sony some blowback. No one expects this to change anything, but again, it's just a form of unity, a form of protest, and I get that. That's all it is. I don't think anyone's expecting this to change anything, but I think a lot of people now are just looking for ways to push back at Sony.
I mean, PlayStation's own network went out for a month, and it didn't really bat an eye to people. People were pissed off about it. People complained about it, but Sony still rose to the top.
Well, that's when they gave us Little Big Planet and Infamous for free. Was that the time you're talking about?
They get when they were hacked and they were out for what was it, 34 days, 35 days, whatever it was.
Are you talking about on the PS3?
Yeah, the PS3 blackout.
That's how I got Little Big Planet. They gave us 2 games and some other things, but yeah, I think
they gave us a list of games and you could choose two of them or something like that. Oh, this to me is just stupid. Like, I get the sentiment behind it, but it's not going to accomplish anything. Just like that petition is not solving anything. Yield, you're quiet.
I said my piece at the very beginning. If you want, like, bravo. If you want to do a protest, I'm not doing it. I'm just not. But if you really want to do something, then you need to buy physical and don't buy digital. And that would be the only way I could see delaying the inevitable. And that's it.
All right. Everybody ready to land this ship? Or Matt, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, you all said it. And even you said it, Tricky. They went a month without it and managed to get away with it, so.
And that was also 100% their fault. Like, they got themselves hacked. So, all right, let's land the ship. Yield your shout out, sir.
Shout out to the pimps and the madams of the whoredom. Thank you for downloading, listening, hanging out with us. Shout out to Matt, Tricky, and Alex for recording. Shout out to the Brain 76, Homer Get Stuffed. prepare to die Urscum and Nitro for co-oping through Generation 0. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Alex, your shout-outs?
Give a shout out to the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire to the trophy whores. Thank you all very much for continuing to support us, for listening, for spreading the good word. We appreciate you all a ton. Give a shout out to my co-host, Tricky, Matt, and Yield. Also a shout out to our co-host last week on a great show, Daryl and Joe P. Give a shout to Will for his artwork. Always does awesome work for us, so appreciate that, Will. And last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hun. And that is going to be my shout-outs.
Matt, your shout-outs.
I am actually going to forego all of my usual shout-outs on a personal note. Today marks 18 years since I lost my dad, and it's been a long time without him. So, love you, miss you, Dad. The show's for you.
All right, and I want to give a shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to Will, who was briefly in our chat and then I guess left because he didn't want to hear us talking prodigally. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to my co-host, and shout out to Sweet Mama D. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Later.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.